In our last video, we talked about using the iPad to take notes if you're a student or someone taking a class this fall. Today, I want to talk a little bit more about note taking, so stay with me. Well, hi everyone, this is Crystal from A Crystal Clear Life, where we focus on planning, organizing, and living a more simplified life. And today I want to talk a little bit more about note taking using OneNote. Today's topic will specifically relate to you if you are a student or someone who takes classes on a regular basis. Maybe you attend conferences. Maybe you are going through a master class or a great course series, something like that, and you just want to take some notes. Okay, so let's jump into the computer and we'll get started. All right, so let's look here at the computer, and you see that this test notebook I have been using for a while. I did a complete video where we talked about using the various planner pages that are available, that you can download, that you can create, how you might go about setting up a planner in your notebook if you were a student or someone going back to school or something like that. If you would like to see that video, I will have it linked up above so that you can check that out. I also did a video on doing some student notes that were handwritten on the iPad, and then how you can bring those back into OneNote, clean them up, add details, add maps, add graphics, add voice, add all kinds of things to it to really enhance your notes. So that's pretty cool. Again, I will leave that one linked up above as well. Today, I want to focus on a couple of ways to use your desktop or your iPad to create more regular notes. Maybe you're somebody that wants to set up a template. So we're going to start with templates, okay? Now, like I said in the previous video, I showed a number of the academic templates that they have in OneNote, so I'm not going to go through all of those again, but I did want to start with a couple of notes basics. So let's look at our screen here, and you see here I have on this page a notes template that I set up, and I have it stored under my templates, and it's all the way down at the bottom, and it's called Notes Lined, all right? Because it just has notes at the top, and it's a lined page. I set the lines to have purple lines. You can set them to be whatever color you would like them to be, okay? And I'll go through and I'll show you how to do that in just a second, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what it can look like if you create your own template, okay? So what I did here is, this is my normal page title. I did a thick black line at the top and a thick black line at the bottom, and then you see here it puts the date. I took the time out because I didn't need that, but the date that the note was created, and then I just have a sample text box here that I leave on the template so I remember which font I liked and which font I thought was the right size and all of that. So if I were to start using this to take notes, I simply would delete this information and start again, okay? If you are a student, I would always recommend that you create a text box on the side that is the class name, the subject of the notes that you will be taking based on your syllabus, or the subject matter that you've been told today we'll be talking about, okay? We already have our date on here, and since they are your notes, you don't need to add that as well. You can either put it down here on these first lines, you could put it up here, so that it's kind of, in that title bar at the top. However you want it to look, you can make it look that way in OneNote, okay? So this is a page template, and the thing that I like about page templates is you can come into a section and you can add a page template, and it will add that page to your list of pages over here, and it will be set the way that you have determined that it's set, okay? So for example, now we just added this, and that's not going to be on the page template, but if I wanted to add a new page to this section, I could simply go over here. Let me close this so I can show you exactly where templates are. Go up to the insert menu, come over to page templates, do the drop down. Your most recent one is listed here. You see I also have a personal development notes page that I created for myself. I have a red and black margin one that I like to use. And then I have some of my dailies, weeklies. I have a recipe one. I have a day planner. I have travel ones. I have a bunch of page templates that I've set up. But so for example, if I just want to insert another page, watch over here in this page section. If I just say add another line to notes page, it drops it in there at the bottom. Then I can go up here and I can just start typing and it will do my notes that way. Okay. They look very consistent. It's very easy to find things when you do that, okay? The one thing that I would say is I would go up here and add a better title. Like let's say we are taking notes on sailing ship improvements, okay? Maybe we're studying mariner history and that's something that we're studying, okay? Then I could take notes on this page just like that. All right. And remember, these notes sync in the cloud, so they will then be on your phone if you have that set up. They will then be on your iPad if you have that set up. They will also be shared with others if you have that set up. So maybe you have a study group and you guys are all sharing a notebook. I don't know, that could happen. You know, I have to miss class and I want to be able to, you know, share notes with other people. Whatever, you can do that. Or you just have one page that you want to share with someone. You can do that as well. So for example, if I want to share this with someone who missed class, I can go up here to my share button. I can say, send a copy of this page. Click on that. It will open up my email. It will put in a copy of this page as a page that they can read, and you can send that to them, and then they have the copy of the notes that they might need. Okay? So you're not sharing your whole notebook with them. You're simply just sharing your notes from that one page. Can be very helpful, especially if people are getting sick or you know, having to travel or miss class for some reason. I digress. Let's get back to it. Another page that I want to talk to you about on here is this one, and this one is class notes on weathering. This one is set up in the Cornell Notes format, okay? This was a study for geology, and so or earth science, could be earth science as well. And with Cornell Notes, you can see here, there is a space on the right-hand side over here for you to take notes. There is a space on the left-hand side over here for you to ask important questions about what you're studying. And then all the way down at the bottom of the page, there is a summary place where you can summarize all of your notes, okay? Cornell Notes is a great way to take notes. You write in this big block area while you are learning about the subject, and then within 24 hours, you go back and you ask those important questions. What is this information answering a question about? And so you think about those questions and you write them down. And then as you go through all of your notes, reviewing them, looking at them, then you create your summary down here at the bottom. So you're writing 1 or 2 sentences, 3 at the most, that talks about the information that you've learned up above in your note taking. Okay. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos, you have heard me talk about the use of tags, customized tags, okay? And on the home menu, there are all of these tags. The icon looks like a little checkbox, but you see all of the tags that I have created to use. Some of them come with OneNote, and some of them I have created, okay? There are lots of them that I have used before for student work and for note taking and that kind of thing. So when you look at those tags, you see that I have a tag right here. Let me click off of that. You see that I have a tag right here that says important. Okay, so all of the ones that have this star next to them, that's something that the teacher or the professor has said, this is important. It's going to be on the test. You better write this down. Okay, so if you hear them say that, make sure that you star that or some other abbreviation that you like to use so that you have that in, you know, in your notes. All right. Another tag that I use is the highlighting of green, okay? So if I want this to be something that I need to remember, for me, green has always been definitions. So the way that I get this is I highlight this, I go up to my tag, and I go all the way down to definition, and I just turned it off. Let's put it back to definition. And you see that the definition then comes up listed in green, okay? Now you'll notice for definition, I do not have a little icon that hangs out there. I could put one. I could customize this tag and put a little icon there if I wanted to. I don't happen to have that done at the moment. Same thing for remember for later, important facts. I do not have a little icon out here. All it simply does is highlights it in yellow, okay? All right, now here's another tag right here. This one says example. So I use the arrow for an example, and you see that it changes the color of the text as well. All right, here's another example of frost wedging. Okay, and as we go down, here are more examples. Here are more important things. So as I am writing information, then I have imported my graphic from my textbook or from Google or from wherever, the PowerPoint that the professor provided, wherever I get that graphic from, it doesn't matter, but I can put that graphic in that box with the notes. So if I'm looking at differential weathering or mechanical breaking of rocks, I have a diagram here that shows me exactly what mechanical weathering includes. Okay? All right. Again, more tags, and then down here at the bottom, you see some of that yellow highlighting. Okay? Now, why are these tags important? Well, they're important because you can create a study sheet from all of your notes, from your sections, from all of your classes if you would like to, with one click of the button. Okay? Let me show you how to do that. If you go up here to find tags, or it might be on your find tags. If you go to your find tags menu and you click on that, you're going to see this little tag summary come up over here, okay? Now there's lots of different ways you can do this. You can do it by name, by section, by title, by date, by note text, however you want. I like to do it for studying by tag name, okay? Normally, if I'm doing this for my planner, I only want to see the unchecked items because I like to use my planner as a checklist and I go in and check things off when they're done. But when you're taking notes, you're not going to check off the definition unless you want to check off that you know it already. Anyway, so I leave that unchecked because I want to see all of my tags, okay? Then you see it starts to compile all of those definitions that I have, and I can scroll down and see, oh, here are my examples of granite breaking off and limestone, etc., etc. I see all of my important things, so there's one of the stars and the information that's there. All that's good, and it's good here on the side, on the left-hand side, but down here at the bottom, I can also say, well, yeah, I just want to focus on this section because maybe this section of my notebook is my earth science notebook, okay? Or the section that I'm studying for that one particular class. I have other choices. I could say this page group, which would relate to pages that I have over here, a section group or a notebook. I could look at all the notebooks, which would be a little overwhelming if you were to look at all of my notebooks, or I could even look at just today's notes, okay? But I'm going to stick with just this section so that you can see what that looks like, okay? Now, the other thing that I love is you can create this page summary page. Now, when I do that, it's going to make a new page here, and then we'll go look at that. All right, so here is my new page that it created. It went through everything in this section, and it gave me, here are all the things that I highlighted as definitions. Here are all the examples that I highlighted. Here is all of the important information that I highlighted, okay? That's pretty awesome. Now, you might think as a student, you're sitting there going, frost wedging, I cannot remember what frost wedging is. What's that about? I don't remember. Well, you can go over here and click on this little OneNote button, and it says that it's in class notes on weathering. And if you click on it, it takes you right to that page. And it takes you right to the section of that page where that tag was found. There's no flipping through your notebook trying to find that diagram. OneNote does it all for you automatically. Love, love, love the tag summary page, especially for creating study notes. Excellent. Okay? All right. If you want to know more about that, leave me a comment in the description. I could go on and on about tag summary. Moving on, Cornell Notes is a great template, but I do not have a template for Cornell Notes, so I wanted to show you today a quick way to set up a page template, okay? So I'm going to go to a blank page, just created a blank page by adding a page. And one thing that I always like to do is I like to set up either ruled lines, which you have a choice of here, or grid lines, which you have a choice of here. I think for this one, let's try grid lines. Why not? Okay. And I can also change the page color if I want. I can give it a nice purple background if I want to. Doesn't matter. But I think I'm someone who might print my pages from time to time. So I'm going to say no color today. I just want to create a Cornell Notes layout. Okay. I am going to go up here to the draw feature, and I'm going to draw some lines. I have to draw almost like an upside down T. So let me show you how to do that. Let's start with, let's choose a red. So we're going to go in here and we're going to pick red, and that's probably a pretty good thickness. Okay, so I have my red pen. I'm going to scroll out a little bit more because I'm going to need more space on this page. I want to have plenty of space to do this. So I'm going to take my red pen and I'm going to start to draw a line right about here, I guess. And you'll notice as I draw and I click and hold my mouse down, OneNote will snap that line into a straight line for me. Okay? Now I can choose a different color. I'm going to go with this blue. That looks a little thick for me. Let's go down one. And I need to create a space down here to create my summary. So I'm going to start about right here, and I'm going to go across, and that's going to be my summary section, like that. Okay. Now I'm going to go back up to my select tool on my home menu, and I'm just going to put a text box down here that says summary. All right, and I'll zoom in a minute so you can see that. And then I'm also going to put another text box over here that says questions, because that's what that section is for. And then I'm going to put another text box in the big part that says notes. Okay, and I'm going to put another text box at the top that says Cornell Note template. All right. Okay. And again, I can say this is Cornell Notes, and then when I look for it in my templates, I'll be able to identify it, okay? So let's scroll in and look at that. All right, so maybe I say to myself, well, you know what? When I look at it this close, maybe I need a little bit more space for notes and a little less space for questions. So I can click on this line and I can simply drag it to where I need it to be. Okay, and so now it moves that whole long line, and maybe this one is okay, but I want to move it up just a little bit. So I'm going to click on that, and again I can just click and drag it to where I want it to be and put my summary box there. Okay, now I am ready to start taking notes on this Cornell Notes template. It looks very much like the one that I did here for rock weathering. Okay, so there's my red line, and there's my blue line, my summary box at the bottom. This one happens to be lined paper, so you can kind of see the difference there. The one that we are creating is on grid paper. Maybe we like that, maybe we don't. Maybe we want to change it to maybe a smaller set of lines. Maybe these are too big, so we want to go smaller. And that might look a little bit better, or maybe even smaller. Let's try the smallest. That's a little distracting for me, so I'm going to say no. I'm going to go back to this size. Um, and we'll leave it that way, okay? Then what I want to do is I am going to save this page as a template. I'm going to go back to my insert menu and I'm going to go to page templates. All the way down at the bottom, I'm going to click page templates and it says save current page as a template down here at the bottom. If I click on that, I get a dialog box that says give it a template name. So I can say Cornell Notes. And if I want to, I could set this template as a default for this section. So every time I open this and say give me a new page, it gives me a new page that looks exactly like this. Okay, Cornell Notes template, and I'm ready to start taking notes. All right. In this case, I'm not going to set that, but that is very helpful, especially if you go ahead and set your page up for, U.S. history or, whatever subject you happen to be studying, which you absolutely could do. Okay. And then I'm going to say save. All right. Now, when I close my templates and I go back to insert and I look at templates again, I now have, when I look at my templates, my Cornell Notes is right there. Okay. So if I add a new page of Cornell Notes, there it is. There's the one that we just created. Okay. So it's that easy to be able to quickly set up notebook pages in your student planner. Okay. All right. Now, one final thing that I want to talk about regarding note taking, and that is, let's say your professor gives you a PDF file. The PDF might be a list of his slides that he talked about during his PowerPoint presentation or something like that. Okay. I'm going to show you this page on Jamestown. And what I did is I simply took the PDF that I had, opened it in my PDF reader, and said print to OneNote. And this is what it did. It printed out the first page and the second page and the third page and the fourth page and the fifth page and so on, all in one page. Okay? That's exactly what I wanted for this example because all of my notes on Jamestown need to be in one place. Okay? You can also set OneNote so that if you have a printout, it prints each page on a separate page in OneNote. Okay? If you're doing something like inserting a planner or something like that, that's what you're going to want. You're going to want it to insert it on separate pages. But because I'm taking notes just on Jamestown, I wanted everything on one page. Okay? Now, once I have my information here and it's all stored in its own container, so I can move that container around if I want to. I can put it over here and take notes over here, whatever I want to do. Okay. But in this case, I wanted to show you that you can go in here with, even your pen. You could take a pen, you could come in here and underline things that you thought were important. You can highlight things if you would like to. So for example, here I have highlighted this information around this paragraph that talks about people living in Virginia. Okay. The assignment for the students for this particular activity was there is a quiz below. And what I wanted them to do was to go down and read the question, go back into the document itself, highlight or mark the answer, and then they could go back and answer the question. So I was teaching them how to answer questions by looking back at the text. Okay. But another thing that you can do is you can create a text box and you can annotate information by writing on the side. I could move this down, wherever I wanted to. Maybe I want to write a note about this particular picture here. Whatever it happens to be, you can annotate things that way. Okay. Here again was some simple highlighting. Again, answering those questions down below. Same here, same here, same here. So you get the idea, right? And then down here, multiple choice questions. They were able to then take their highlighter and go in here and mark the thing that they thought was the answer. Okay? So think about how you could use something like this Let's say the professor sends out their PowerPoint slide ahead of time. And then what you could do is you could go in here and you could create a text box next to each one. And as he is talking, you could be writing notes about, what he's talking about. All right. So it's just very helpful. And then when you get back and class is over, that's when you can go in, clean up your notes, insert your tags. Oh, this is a definition that I need to do, so I need to write that down, etc., etc. All the things that we've talked about. Okay? So you can insert PDFs, you can annotate on PDFs, you can do all of those things in OneNote. Very helpful for taking notes. Okay? All right. Well, again, that's a lot of information in just a short amount of time. I really probably should break each one of these down into an individual video, but I don't know. I just get on a roll and just have so many things that I want to share with you guys. I just keep going and going. Anyway, if you have stayed till this part of the video, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the comments that you leave me down below. I appreciate the emojis. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate those who subscribe. And so I just want to say thanks for joining me today. And if you're a student going back to school, best of luck. If you are an adult taking classes or learning a new trade or learning a new skill, best of luck to you as well. And here's hoping that you can live a more organized and simplified life through better planning. I use OneNote. Until next time. Okay, bye.